In October 1966, a young girl, only 18 months old, suffered from spinal meningitis and double pneumonia, leading her to experience clinical death. During this time, she felt a profound separation from her body and a heightened awareness of her surroundings, sensing both peace and confusion. A mystical lady in white appeared, shielding her from death and guiding her back to life. This transformative experience left her with a deep understanding of the preciousness of life, a connection to others, and an enduring belief in the afterlife. Here is the detail. I was 18 months old at the time. The story of my illness was told to me from my parents, sisters, aunt, and grandparents, as I was too young to know what exactly happened. I was in the hospital for spinal meningitis and double pneumonia. Apparently, there were other things wrong as well. What I remember is being sick ward. I saw cribs and beds with children everywhere. I remember the curtains had zoo animals on them. I also remember the doctor who came by a couple times a day, sometimes with a huge needle. I did not fighting much because I was really sick. Everyone was very nice to me and I wasn't afraid of being in the hospital. I do remember seeing my parents a good bit. My father said I was in the hospital for 3 months. One day while in the hospital, I was floating above my body. Then, I was on the floor and looking up at my body in the crib. I was confused, but not scared. Then a lady in all white, who gave off a brilliant, white light came to me. She and I were looking at this guy in a black robe. She said, "Here, let me hide you. He is death and he is looking for you, but he can't take you if he doesn't see you." After he went away, she lifted me up and said, "It is not your time." She placed me back in my body. Before this incident, my family was told to pick out funeral clothing for me, because I would not last the night. Being in a Catholic family, they gathered and prayed all night for me. The next morning, they got a call to come get me. They took an X-ray of my lungs and ran some tests. They were amazed to say that there is nothing wrong with me. They couldn't explain it other than that I was a walking miracle. My mother watched over me for weeks after I was home. Once while watching me, she said I lifted my arms up and had a beautiful smile on my face while I was asleep. Then I started wailing. So she woke me up and asked what was wrong. I said that Jesus came for me and I wanted to go with him. But he said it wasn't my time yet. I think he was checking up on me and the lady in white was his mother, Mary. After the experience I developed an almost photographic memory. I could sing a song after hearing it once. I could read and write at a very young age. Also, I was singing in a language my parents didn't recognize. So, my mom wrote it down to the best of her ability and asked our priest if he could tell what I was singing. He did some research and said the language is Aramaic and it was something to do with how I love the Lady of the Sea. I know how this sounds, but it is all true. My father is 85 years old and he can verify this. My one sister who is still living can also verify this. I also developed a somewhat sense of ESP. I think this frightened my mother. There have been many occasions when I knew someone was going to die. My sister and I have seen spirits in different places where we lived. I am almost convinced that by having the near-death experience, I was given this ability. I went through school and college forest technology with great grades without much effort. I love being in the woods and have excelled at my career and have just had some of the most wonderful experiences. It is strange, but I was talking to my dad the other day about this experience. I said it is so weird that even today, if I am sick, the only thing I want is red Hawaiian punch. He said that makes perfect sense, since that is all I had when I was in the hospital. It was the only thing that I didn't throw back up. In conclusion, I have to say that there are too many times to count, where I know I am constantly being watched over and kept out of harm's way, things that make me say, "Thank you, Jesus, I know that it is your hand of protection." If I have learned anything, it is that life is a precious gift from God. I am so very far from perfect, but every day I try to do better and be a better person. After all, I have almost 58 years that I wouldn't have had, if it wasn't for the lady in white coming to save me. And I don't want to disappoint her.